Imagine for a second that your body is like this huge, chaotic construction site. You've got workers everywhere, cranes, materials, 1,000 things happening at once.
Right.
And typically when something goes wrong, a pipe bursts or a wall cracks, we take a traditional drug.
Mm-hmm.
And that drug is, well, it's like a foreman with a megaphone screaming at everyone to stop what they're doing and fix that one thing.
That's a great image. It's really accurate, actually. That's the pharmacological model we've used for decades. It's a block and force model.
Like block and forth.
We block a receptor or we force a pathway open. We're essentially hijacking the body's physiology to get a specific result. It's effective, but it's loud. It's disruptive.
Exactly. But what if, instead of that screaming foreman, you could just send a polite text message to the site manager? Something that just says, hey, we're a little low on cement on the 3rd floor. Can you send some up?
No screaming, no shutting down the site, just a nudge.
Just a nudge.
And that really is where we are today. We're diving into the world of peptides, this idea of biological messaging. It's a fundamental shift from forcing the body to do something to just politely asking it to do what it already knows how to do, just a bit more efficiently.
I love that. And that's our deep dive for today. Peptides.
Yeah.
I feel like this word is suddenly everywhere. It went from these obscure research labs right into the mainstream.
It really has.
We've got a huge stack of sources here, and we're leaning heavily on a really comprehensive report from Blue Pine Health called The Peptide Frontier. We're going to walk through how these little chemical text messages are being used for everything from injury repair to anti-aging, brain function, and even, well, romantic motivation.
We will definitely get to that. But we also have to talk about safety, because anytime something moves from the lab to the gym locker room, you get a lot of noise and, frankly, a lot of misinformation.
Absolutely. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a peptide? Is it a protein, a drug?
It's all about size. So you know amino acids are the building blocks.
Right. The Legos.
Exactly. If you chain a whole bunch of them together, say more than 50, they fold up and become a complex protein. But if you have a short chain, maybe 2 to 50 amino acids, that's a peptide. They're smaller, they're more agile, they act as signaling molecules. They're the body's internal email system.
So how is that different from, I don't know, an antibiotic or a painkiller?
Well, a traditional drug often works by blocking something. It has a longer half-life. It lingers. Peptides, because they mimic your body's own signals, they deliver their message, fix this, release that, and then they just break down into harmless amino acids.
So it's a hit and run.
In the best possible way, yes. It's a nudge, not a hijack.
Okay, that's the theme. Nudging versus hijacking. So let's get into the specific messages we can send. We have to start with the one that seems to be the gateway for most people, BPC-157.
The robotic name, yeah.
A very robotic name. But its origin is kind of gross, isn't it?
Huh. I guess it depends on your perspective. BPC stands for Body Protection Compound. And yes, it was originally derived from a protein found in human gastric juice.
Gastric juice, stomach acid.
Precisely. I mean, if you think about it, the stomach is an incredibly hostile environment. It's just a vat of acid constantly churning.
Right. It shouldn't be able to contain itself.
But it does, because the lining is constantly repairing itself. So researchers isolated this peptide that seemed to be responsible for that incredible rapid healing.
So it starts as an ulcer treatment? But now you see athletes using it for torn rotator cuffs and sprained ankles. How did it make that leap from the stomach to the knee?
Well, once they understood the mechanism, the applications just exploded. The primary superpower of BPC-157 is something called angiogenesis,
Which is?
the formation of new blood vessels.
Which is critical for healing anything.
It is the single most important factor. Think about tendons and ligaments. They're white tissue, right? They're notorious for having a poor blood supply. That's why a torn ACL takes forever to heal compared to a muscle.
Which is red and full of blood.
Exactly. BPC-157 seems to send that text message that says, build new vascular highways into this damaged tissue. Deliver the nutrients, deliver the oxygen.
So it's not just, like taking an Advil.
No, not at all.
It's not just masking the pain so you can keep going on a bad knee.
Exactly. And that's a really critical distinction. The literature talks about this a lot. It does modulate inflammation, but it doesn't just block it. It seems to accelerate the actual structural repair. It's fixing the crack in the wall, not just painting over it.
Okay, so BPC-157 is the fix-it guy.
Yeah.
But you often see it paired with something else.
Yeah.
This brings us to what the internet calls, and I love the branding here, the Wolverine blend.
Yes, the comic book references run deep in this space. Everyone wants that regeneration factor.
So this is usually BPC-157 stacked with something called TB500, What's that, and why do they work so well together?
TB500 is a synthetic version of a naturally occurring peptide called thymosin beta-4. So if BPC-157 is building the roads, the blood vessels TB500 is all about cell migration. It gets the construction workers to the site.
Okay, I get it. So BPC builds the highway, and TB500 gets the workers on the bus to get there.
That's a perfect analogy. It interacts with a protein called actin, which is what allows cells to move. When you have an injury, you need stem cells and immune cells to physically travel to the damage. TB500 basically upgrades their engine. It makes them more mobile.
So when you stack them, which is just the cool term for taking them together, you get a synergistic effect.
Correct. You're hitting the injury from two angles, improving the supply line with BPC and increasing the workforce mobility with TB500. It's a really comprehensive recovery protocol.
All right, so that's repair. Let's pivot to the thing everyone is obsessed with, anti-aging. Staying young forever. And that means we have to talk about growth hormone.
Right. Now, growth hormone, or GH, has been the fountain of youth drug for decades. But injecting street synthetic GH is blunt force. It's the foreman with the megaphone again, and it comes with a lot of baggage.
What kind of baggage? I've heard about GH gut, the distended belly.
That can happen with abuse, sure. But more common issues are water retention, joint pain, and insulin resistance. The biggest problem, though, is something called negative feedback.
Meaning?
Meaning, when you flood your body with an external hormone, your pituitary gland just says, oh, we have plenty, I'll stop making this. It shuts down your natural production. You become dependent.
So enter the peptides. I'm seeing a combination here. CJC-1295 and upamorelin. These are mouthfuls.
They are. They fall into a category called growth hormone secretagogues.
Secretagogues. Sounds like a secret society.
It just means a substance that causes another substance to be secreted. So instead of giving you GH, these peptides send a text to your pituitary gland that says, hey, could you release a little pulse of growth hormone right now?
So using your own factory as supply.
Exactly. CJC-1295 mimics your body's natural growth hormone releasing hormone. Ipamorelin hits a different receptor, the ghrelin receptor, but it does it selectively. So it triggers the GH release without making you ravenously hungry, which was a problem with older versions.
And why stack these two?
Because they work on different pathways to do the same thing. You get a bigger, more natural pulse. And the most important part is that this maintains the natural pulsatile release.
Pulsatile. So it comes in waves.
Yes. Your body releases GH in pulses, mostly when you sleep. Injecting it creates this constant, unnatural flat line of high GH, and that's what causes most of the side effects. These secretagogues mimic the natural spike. You get the benefits: fat loss, better sleep, skin quality, without the shutdown.
And what does someone actually feel?
The first thing almost everyone reports is better sleep. Just deep, restorative sleep. Over time, that translates to better recovery and body composition.
I also see tesamorelin on the list. Is that just another flavor?
It's similar, but it's sort of the heavy hitter. It actually has an FDA approval.
For what?
For HIV-associated lipodystrophy, a condition where patients accumulate this hard visceral fat in their belly.
That's the dangerous internal fat, right?
Right. The most dangerous kind. And because tesamorelin was so effective at specifically targeting that fat, it's gained huge off-label interest from metabolic health. It is arguably the most potent peptide we have for targeting visceral fat.
That is just wild. The level of specificity is incredible. Okay, let's talk pure vanity for a second. Skin. GHK-Cu, the copper peptide.
Yes, you've probably seen this in high-end skin creams. It's fascinating. It's a natural copper complex found in our plasma, but our levels drop off a cliff as we age. By the time you're 60, you have a fraction of what you had at 20.
And what does it do?
It seems to act as a gene modulator. It can essentially reset the gene expression of your skin cells back to a younger state. It tells them to produce more collagen and elastin.
So it's literally telling your DNA to act younger.
In a way, yes. It tightens skin, reduces fine lines, and it's also huge in the hair loss community because it appears to support the hair follicle itself.
So if you combine that with the others, you get what the Blue Pine report calls the glow blend.
Right. Imagine GHK-Cu for the collagen, BPC-157 to lower inflammation. You're attacking aging from multiple angles.
Now, before we leave the body, I have to ask about NAD plus LE. It's not technically a peptide, right? But it's always in this conversation.
Correct. It's a coenzyme. But it fits because it's all about cellular optimization. NAD+ is basically the currency of energy in your cells. Your mitochondria, the power plants, they need it to function.
And I'm guessing our levels drop with age.
They do. Age, stress, alcohol. They all deplete NAD plus allicin. And that's a problem because NAD plus also fuels a class of proteins called sirtuins.
The guardians of the genome?
Perfect description. They repair DNA damage, but they can't work without fuel. If your NAD plus is low, the sirtuins go offline, DNA damage piles up, and your cellular energy just tanks. That's what brain fog and fatigue feel like.
So taking NAD plus is like recharging this cellular battery.
Exactly. It's fundamental. Okay, so we fix the knee, burn the belly fat, and recharge the batteries. Now let's talk about the brain. This is where it gets really sci-fi for me. Cmax and Selenk.
The Russian peptides.
Yes, a fascinating history. Developed by the Russian Academy of Sciences for cognitive performance, stress resilience. Cmax was even used by emergency rescue crews.
So is it like a smart drug? Is it like the movie Limitless?
It's often called a nootropic, but unlike, say, caffeine or Adderall, which just squeeze your adrenal glands for a bit, Cmax works by modulating brain chemistry. Specifically, it increases something called BDNF.
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Nice.
That's like fertilizer for your brain cells.
The best way to describe it. It helps neurons grow and form new connections. Users report a sense of flow, it's clear focus, but without any of the jitters or anxiety you get from a stimulant.
And Selenk is its cousin.
Very similar, but with a strong anti-anxiety component. It's often described as just feeling stable. Not sedated, not sleepy, just calm and capable.
I mean, that sounds like the holy grail for modern life.
It's a very desirable state, to be both calm and sharp.
All right, we have arrived at the one that always gets a bit of a giggle, but it's serious medicine. PT-141, the libido peptide.
Yes, bremelanotide. The story here is actually hilarious. It was originally being researched as a sunless panning agent.
A self-canner. In a needle.
Exactly. It stimulates melanin production. But during the trials, the test subjects, particularly the men, started reporting unexpected and significant arousal.
Sorry, Doc, I'm still pale, but I'm very happy to be here.
Essentially. But here's the crucial scientific distinction. Drugs like Viagra work on the vascular system. They're about plumbing, blood flow. PT-141 works on the central nervous system. It works on the brain.
So it flips the switch in your mind.
It activates melanocortin receptors in the hypothalamus that control desire. And because of that mechanism, it's effective for both men and women. It's one of the only treatments approved for hypoactive sexual desire disorder in women.
That's a huge deal. It's treating the will instead of just the way.
Precisely. Now, it does have a catch. Because it works on the brain, it can cause nausea in some people, so dosing is key.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, and I'm sure people are listening thinking, where do I sign up? But we have to hit the pause button and look at the warning label. Blue Pine Health was very clear about this.
And they should be. This space is the Wild West right now. Purity matters. Synthesis matters.
I see this for research purposes only label on websites all the time. What does that actually mean?
It's a legal loophole. It allows companies to sell these compounds by claiming they're for a lab experiment, not for you to inject into your body.
But people are doing just that.
They are. And the danger is you have no idea what's really in that vial. It could be impure. It could have bacterial endotoxins, heavy metals. You don't know.
And the type of salt matters too.
It does. Pharmaceutical-grade peptides are usually acetate salts. The cheap gray market ones are often trifluoroacetate salts, which can be irritating and inflammatory.
So the takeaway here is don't be your own doctor on the internet.
Absolutely. This has to follow a medical model. You need a licensed provider who can look at your blood work, and you need the peptides to come from a legitimate, regulated compounding pharmacy that tests for purity and sterility.
Right. Just because it's a nudge doesn't mean you can't mess it up badly.
Exactly. These are powerful signals. You don't want to be sending the wrong message at the wrong time. This is medicine, not magic.
I think that's the big picture here. The potential is massive.
Yeah.
We're talking about shifting from a model of medicine that just fixes what's broken to one that optimizes the whole system.
It's a shift from reactive to proactive. We're finally learning the language of the body, how to speak to our cells directly.
So here's the thought I want to leave everyone with. If we're at the text message stage now, sending signals to regrow blood vessels or calm anxiety, how long is it until we can rewrite the entire instruction manual for aging?
That is the question of the century.
Are we just fixing the house, or are we learning how to renovate it indefinitely?
I think we're closer than most people realize.
Thanks for diving in with us. Stay curious, everyone.
Take care.